I'm trying to get to work and I was running late or anything. So I've been pretty much just sitting the cruise control at 75. It
Where are
feels
you going? Just
um see here, I had to go into the office the other day. Um so like I went there, so I was going down 94, but I'm like there's no point in me going above 75.
mhm.
Normally I would be doing 90 on that route, but
Are you be busting? That's some strong shit I just made. You
Yeah,
be
80 to 90 was my normal speed when
hmm
I could. So is that just Everclear?
no, that's just water.
y'all out here doing Everclear, bruh?
No, man, I had a bottle and I just used that for cleaning, but
Oh, okay. I'm rolling. Um, so before we, does anybody else get irritated when somebody say they went 150% or 110%? Like, bitch, if you could go anything more than what you already rent, that means you wasn't going 100% before then, ho. Stop telling me you went 150% on some shit. That shit irritating.
well, I mean, it depends on what your the point that you're comparing it to is, right? So you can never do in the present more than 100%, but like in your present 100% may be 110% of your past, right?
I'm
I don't think
rolling,
that they're thinking it
but
like that,
I
but
just always only hear from coaches that say, "I want you guys to go out there and give it 110%." No, motherfucker, just say 100. That's enough.
Mhm.
100 is everything I got. Don't try to make me give you more than what the fuck I got, motherfucker. If I give you 100, I gave you 100. Shit, be
but
happy.
but see, Mike, I think that's the difference with you there is that like you don't need to be told to give 100%. Like you're gonna be out there giving 100% anyways. But then there's guys like me who like, if you go ahead and say Jake, give 100%, I'm giving you like 70. So when
So
you
you
say
gotta
give me
On a
overshoot
good
that
day.
bitch.
right, so when you say give me 110%, I'm like shit. I really gotta step up. I gotta do 85% now.
Got to go all the way up to 80.
And you know what's funny?
I'm not trying to blow my knee out, Mike.
It's funny you say that because there's guys that when they give you that 85, you be like, damn, he gave 100. I ain't never seen him go that hard before. But in your body, you know, like, shit, I still had another 15, 20% for him. I'm not doing all that though. But like, cause I always see you at 75. When you go 85, I'll be like, yeah, he wanted it. And that shit'll trick you. That shit almost like that one show, Blue Mountain State, or I think it's called. It's like it was a goofy ass football TV show on Netflix, and basically the premise is the main character is a backup quarterback, and that's all he wants to be. He wants to be known as the quarterback of the team, so get all the love, but be the backup quarterback, so he never has to play. So just his whole career, he just be as mediocre as fucking possible, just so he stays on the team but don't get cut. And that's just a lot of dudes' lives. Like, let me just make sure I do just enough so I can stay on the team, get these perks, but not do too good. So where these motherfuckers got expectations.
You know, you guys pressured me into it. I gotta go get some vodka real quick.
Hurry up, buddy.
Okay, okay, okay.
Are you in the bed?
Hell yeah.
I always assume that this little setup you have here is on the couch. You really be
Nah, man.
comfortable in this bitch.
Oh yeah, man. Toes out.
We will be editing that out of this video, people.
Wait, are we recording?
Hurry up, Jake.
Are we recording?
Yeah, but I'm gonna pause it here.
Oh
So go
shit.
ahead.
I think I know what caused my video quality to go to shit last time, and I have no idea why.
Well,
It might have
you
been
know why, but
Facebook,
you don't know why. Oh, you think Facebook might have did it?
but just opening Facebook in Chrome, like not even doing anything.
Is that fucking up? Yo, is that shit snagging up CPU or something?
No, I Let's see.
How loud is it when I pull this bitch, Wise?
It sounds like the beginning of
That Tool song?
2 Hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sublime.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna just
I
put
don't
my
want to
shit
create a new Facebook password.
to push the talk.
Got something fancy. Watch this.
Ooh. Ooh, that's sexy.
What's sexy?
My transitions.
Oh, you got to be careful with the word transition around me, man. Oh,
I mean, I meant both ways.
I gotta get tucked in here.
That's also another way to transition.
They can see my shirt. Rolling this down so they can see my shirt too.
Is that a ICP hatchet man you got on your chest there?
Don't you ever.
I didn't know you were a Juggalo, Mike.
Don't you ever.
You ain't down with the clown?
I don't want to start dissing them because I got friends who listen to this and are juggalos, but no,
Dude, and those people are to death, to the grave.
yeah, they still was trying to do the damn what's it called this summer or whatever it is. They little
Oh yeah, what
I
do
always
they call
forget
it?
that shit called, man. God damn it, that little festival that they do.
Mm-hmm.
The what?
A little Juggalo festival that's ICP be putting together every year. They didn't cancel that till recently. Like
I think Fago is a known cure, right?
Werner's is. I don't know about no Fago though. Let's see.
That moon mist maybe, but
Ooh. Ooh. Like it. All right, boys. Cheers. Actually, let me go ahead and do the intros before we cheers. Off top, y'all. This is episode 11 of the delicious and contagious No Consensus podcast. We got your main squeeze here starting us off. That's Mike Jack, baby. I'm the main thing, aka Mikey, aka Microwave Jackson, aka Microphone Jackson, aka Jack. Oh no, I don't want to say jacked you off. Jack, she jacked me off. Mike, she jacked me. aka King Dingaling. And then we got your two side pieces here. Jake, aka the Daliama Foster, aka Jacob, Jake the Jogging Jackster Foster. We also got the Red Rocket. We like to call him the Bearded Crusader, and he is also known as in certain parts of Ann Arbor as the Taco Bandit. And then the second side piece here is John Wozniak, aka Nutty Professor, aka The Sequel, aka The Matrix, aka Red Pill Woz. And this is cheers to you boys.
cheers, Mike.
Cheers.
Another fabulous introduction. I bet your freestyle skills are impeccable.
What you sipping on, Jake?
I got some Kettle One botanicals, the cucumber and mint. I got it straight here.
Okay.
Julia loves it. It's and stuff, and it's not bad straight.
I feel like you once told me that you didn't drink vodka straight until you tasted that what's it called, dog? What's that shit called? That you had a
Ugly dog.
Ugly dog.
Yeah.
You turning are you turning a leaf here or something? What's going on here?
Well, so I don't like the idea of like forcing myself to do something. So if for example, like for the longest time I didn't like any vodkas. You grab a bottle of Smirnoff, it tastes like dick. That's why you got to put so much orange juice in there. Um, just and why am I doing that to get drunk if I don't actually like it? I'm chasing this intoxicated state, and I feel like that's just a little problematic for me. So I used to stay away from the vodka because if I can't enjoy it stay straight, then I'm not actually enjoying it itself. I'm looking for the byproduct. So Ugly Dog was the first vodka I had that I'm like, damn, I could just sip on this. And Julia, she likes making her little mixers with the LaCroix and the vodka. So she ended up coming across the Kettle One botanicals, and she really likes the cucumber and mint, and it's got a really good flavor. So if I could go ahead and drink it straight, I'm cool with it, but I don't want to have to like convince myself to drink you.
Have you gone into the gins yet?
I did have a very little bit. I wish I had more, but I had a very little bit of the Ugly Dog gin, and that was really good, really smooth. I could see myself sipping on that. But I think I've only had gin one other time, like gin straight, and like it was just as
Tanqueray.
bad as vodka. I have no idea what it was, to be honest with you, but I thought
Tanqueray
it was
is
fucking
not
awful.
it.
I've had a couple, and they're all. I mean, all straight liquors are going to be all over the
Mhm.
board. But one I had was really good, and another one just hot garbage.
Is this
They're just
botanicals you was talking about like a it's like a breakaway from the regular kettle one that they got or something?
Yeah, yeah, it's like this. They have a botanical series, and there's like three different types that they have. One's like cucumber and or like grapefruit and passion fruit or some shit like that. I don't know, but
For the
uh,
bitches.
so whenever we go to the store, we usually pick up a bottle.
I'm rolling. What you sipping on, Wozzy?
I got my larceny,
Fire.
nice bourbon.
Yeah, larceny is always a good go-to. I'm still celebrating Cinco de Mayonnaise, so I'm over here sipping on some
Some Miracle Whip.
tequila, some tequila sunrise. But actually, I do like to drink this one straight. I just wanted to. I felt like having a mixed drink today. I'm tired of drinking straight. This is the Jimadors. It's a fire little tequila. I like it. I'm getting into tequilas now too. By the way, guys, I'm really rocking with some good tequilas because I've been
So
going into the store and I just tell my man's like, "What you got new in here?" And he usually has more new tequilas than anything. So I've been grabbing them. There's another one I got upstairs called something. I'll figure it out after this. Casa something that go hard too.
you'll have
Casamigos
to
maybe.
you'll have to do some like research for us and and figure out get rid of all the bullshit and find out a good tequila because I'm not a fan of tequila straight.
I did tequila for me's out. I had that bad experience.
That's all it takes.
Like,
You have a bad experience or anything, you be like, nope. I didn't
Hmm.
eat ham for like 5 years because I had a bad experience with it.
ham is slimy. I can see that.
Yeah, it was like a honey baked joint though, like top notch ham, boy. And I couldn't. Something happened. I got food poison off of it, and I couldn't look at the shit no more.
Speaking of ham, that's one of those things that always cracks me up when people who don't live in Michigan want to go ahead and share that stupid ass bullshit about these damn Muslims here in America trying to go ahead and institute Sharia law. Look at Dearborn. They got Sharia law. I'm like, y'all motherfuckers have never heard of Dearborn ham, have you?
At all.
Like they're fucking slinging ham over here in Dearborn. I'm pretty sure there's no Sharia law.
Yeah, they slanging that shit for sure. on the nearest corner, boy.
Hmm.
Dearborn has some good meat sticks.
Yeah.
Pause. um, um, so if y'all listening to this and y'all peeped the last episode, one of the things that we had talked about before we was getting off is actually I think we might have talked about this off air. Now that I think about it, we off air we talked about doing a little segment where we each give each other an album every week to listen to, and then we gonna come back during the episode and kind of go over the album, what we thought, and get a breakdown from the person who actually selected the album for us to listen to, and then get the review and thoughts from the other two dudes who haven't heard it before, or maybe they have heard and just haven't heard it in a long time. So this week's album was brought to you by Jake Foster. It was Tool's debut album, Undertow, and I don't know if we got over this or not. Was Opiate really their debut album? Because it do say 92 on there.
So Opiate is their debut EP, but their like full blown debut studio album is Undertow.
Fire. So before we get into our break thoughts and shit, me and Wozzy's, I just want you to tell us, like, give us a little breakdown of this album, Jake. First off, why'd you pick it? Second off, what was this album's, that from your recollection, what was the album's impact on the genre at the time when it came out? What were people saying about it that you know of? And 93 is a long time ago, so maybe you don't know all that, but just give me, when you first heard it, what did you hear about it? What were people saying when it was playing out there? And you know, anything else that's kind of relevant to it, because I do be like, your debut album came out. What is it about it that made this album? Because y'all went to win Grammy, so what is it about this album that made people be like, these dudes is the shit?
Yeah, so
we probably can't play music like that, Wozzy. YouTube will snag our ass. So you can keep the lyrics up there, maybe, but it'll have to be muted.
I was actually really liking that. It was a perfect volume level.
I know. They'll snatch our shit off so fast, bro.
But yeah, no.
I mean, at worst, it'd be
keep
demonetized.
The album up there. Keep the album up there, though, with the track list and everything.
But yeah, so I first got exposed to Tool. I think it was 2001. Their album that was, it was around 2001, 2002. Their album that was currently out was, let's see here, I think their fourth or third studio album, Lateralis, and that's what I got hooked on. So it was when you asked me to pick an album, like, it was kind of a toss up between those two because my first experience was with Lateralis, but you know, let's go back to the start. And I don't know, you know, I can't really tell since, you know, I didn't first listen to Undertow until like 8 years after it came out, so I can't really tell like that sort of impact that it really had on the genre. I think it did open up I think it really helped show that even with heavy rock, you can maintain that sort of aggression, but instead of having it so outward facing and extroverted, that you could actually turn it in. And I think it helped really add introspection to the genre more. Um, and not to mention just the musical skill from those guys. And they were doing a lot of, you know, weird, interesting things. Some of the things I really enjoy about them is just how they layer all the instruments, and the vocals, honestly, tend to be a little bit in the back. Sometimes you're stressing to really try and understand what Maynard's trying to sing.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he does that intentionally, you know, and they wouldn't go ahead and print any of their lyrics on the liner notes. Sometimes at the concerts he would sing other, like, slightly modified lyrics. He doesn't enunciate on purpose because he's actually from Michigan, from Grand Rapids, if I remember correctly, and he went to West Point and was planning on going into the military before he went ahead and went to art school. So he's like a real artsy sort of type dude, and I think it allowed, like, with him introducing that sort of level of like art theory to such a heavy genre, it showed you that you could, you know, integrate things like performance art, which if you watch like the old videos from the 90s of like Lollapalooza, you know, there's some weird crazy ass shit. But the album really taught me a lot, like um you know, like I said, I started with Lateralis, which is very different than Undertow, but then 10,000 Days eventually came out after Lateralis, and they went like a very different route, and but it was through watching and I didn't like it at first, but like watching the interviews with Maynard, you know, he was talking about, you know, he's talking about some very personal shit in here. You know, you got prison sex that he's talking about. That what he's actually discussing and talking about is um, the sexual abuse that he received as a child and stuff, and that's what he's trying to process here. And I remember seeing an interview. He was like, you know, I did what I needed to do to get through that trauma, and to heal from it. And every time I perform these songs, you know, it's performance art, and I have to get in a certain mind space, and I don't want to relive this anymore. Like I've gotten over it. Like we got new shit out that's you know, just as good. When we do a show, I don't feel like doing sober anymore.
Yeah,
So
I took some notes while listening to the album, and during prison sex, I just wrote down, "I need you to feel this. That's wild." That's
Well,
one of the
yeah.
lyrics he's saying there, and he said it a couple of times. And you can kind of really feel what he's saying. No, and I just wrote "That's wild" after that.
But like it taught me that, like, instead of going ahead and me forcing an artist to make the music that I want, what my relationship with the artist should be is that they're living their lives, they're growing, and they're trying to communicate that as best as they can. So I shouldn't want to go ahead and stagnate that growth and have them put out the same album year after year. There should be a difference, and it should shock me. And maybe I'm not a fan of it, and that's okay, because you know they grew in a different direction, and there's nothing wrong with that. So it made me take a very different approach to music after all that.
And just a side note, that's a great
Mike,
perspective.
I
Muted.
can't hear
Oh,
you.
my bad. Oops. What I hit?
Mike, are you fucking up?
I surely was.
There you go.
So just as a perspective, Jake, that's a great mindset to get into as a listener of music. Artists tend to get stuck in this position where they don't know what they want to do sometimes, because they feel like like what you said, the people want to hear what I put out before. They like me for that type of sound, so I need to stick with that sound. And then some artists be like, no, that's not the sound I want no more. I want to do a different sound because this is what I'm feeling. And truth be told, just talking to artists, period, y'all listen, it's not no way to ever know what the people gonna like. You just gotta do it, because I've seen people drop the same album twice, and then people are like, oh, this sound like the last shit. I could just have the last shit. And I've seen people drop a whole different album, and then people say, oh man, this is too different than what I wanted. You know, you go into an album with expectations in your mind. You think it's gonna sound this way, so when it sounds completely different from how you think it's gonna sound, a lot of times it'll fuck up a listener's ears, and they won't really like it they first listen. But I've also seen
a lot of that is labels too.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get into the labels too for sure, but I'm just talking from a pure artist listener perspective. I've also seen it happen the other way, where somebody put out two albums that stayed in that same kind of lane, and people loved it because that's what they was looking for. And I've seen artists come out with something completely different from the last one, and people loved it. So you can't base your shit off of what you think people gonna like. Base it off of what's good, bro, and what you feeling in your body. All
Just
artists,
be
period,
honest.
and put it out, and then let the people decide afterwards. And you know, especially today, you got a lot more avenue to explain shit, which you didn't have back in the day. You just had to drop something and then let the writers and the blogs, or who, you know, depending on what thing it is, kind of dictate what happened. You would go on interviews and shit, but all your interviews are scripted out basically. So, you know, just be you, man. Yeah, and the people gonna decide if they like it or not. But really, at the end of the day, is did you like the project, and do you think it came out good? That's all you can hope for. And all listeners should have that mindset that Jake has. I'm going on a journey with this person, and I'm gonna try to figure it out. And that don't mean you gotta like every album. You know, when you going on a journey, you run into fucking obstacles sometimes. So sometimes you're gonna run into something that you like. I'm not really feeling that, but that's a part of it.
Well, and I feel like it's bridging a relationship with like the listener much more directly. If you're being open and honest with me, then like I can actually form a relationship with you, and not just the music, but you through the music. So as you grow, like I have I have a vested interest in watching you and listening to you grow and you doing better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you said that you didn't like Undertow the first time you heard it?
No, no, I loved Undertow.
Okay,
I
you
was, I
didn't
mean,
like 10 Days the first time you heard it.
yeah,
Okay.
10,000 Days, yeah, I
10,000.
mean, 'cause, you know, I was much and it was interesting, I was listening to this album again this morning, and, it's interesting the relationship music can have on your emotions and your mental state, you know, and, how much it could take you just right back, you know, like, when I was listening to this, I was an angsty high schooler and shit like that, you know, and it's so funny, I'm sitting there on the couch, wife sitting next to me, got the cat next to me, and all of a sudden just like, man, fuck everything. You know, and
Hell yeah. Um so Wozzy, what you think about it when you is this your first time hearing this album?
So I knew Sober and I knew Prison Sex. I didn't know the rest of the album, but I have more of their like his voice. One of the very first things I said is like, that sounds really young compared to what I'm used to, because I'm used to, you know, later stuff. And then is it a Perfect Circle or Audio Slave? I always get it's Audio Perfect Circle.
yeah, Audio Slave was
Uh,
Chris Cornell.
um, that is kind of the reference that I have
Mm,
for his voice. That and like Schism and stuff like that.
mm-hmm,
Uh, the Tool is a very unique sound, and it when you hear him, you're like, oh, that's Tool. And I didn't pay too much attention to the lyrics. I normally do that afterwards, but I know that usually there's double or triple meaning in a lot of what he's saying, where there's the high level words for what they are, and then what they relate to. For me, it's kind of background rock, like it's stuff that I love putting on and
hmm.
doing something else. Because he has it's a monotone singing, but there's still a lot of emotion in it. So like you would still get what he's trying to get across.
It's interesting, because like whenever I'm listening to Tool, like I'm like, nope, I gotta stop everything else, and like I was in the living room and I put the headphones in. I stopped paying attention to the TV show. I had my eyes closed, and like that's how personally for me I have to approach Tool. So that's fascinating.
And a lot of it for me is it the groove of it,
Mhm.
like just the way it musically flows. Is why it's like background, is because it just kind of it allows you to feel the music, because
Mm.
it's not overly complex.
Yeah, I'm rolling with that as well. The first so I gave it 2 listens. First time I was outside working. But that's like remedial work, so I was able to pay attention a good amount and let my body go into overdrive. And the second time I listened to it, I was down here in the basement eating, lights off and listening. And I listen to different genres of music differently. So like when I'm listening to a new rap album, hip hop album, I'm listening intently the first time, because I'm trying to hear what they saying. I'm trying to catch the metaphors, puns, similes, double entendres, everything as much as I can the first time I'm listening. And then when I'm listening to R&B, I just had that shit on while I'm cleaning, and then I'll catch the lyrics later. And this kind of rolled that first time, like how I would listen to an R&B album. I didn't really listen to the words. I just kind of rocked out and let the music take me where it was gonna go. And then the second time around, and mostly it was because of what you said though, Jake. It was because Maynard. Shout out to that name too, Maynard. Sheesh. Um, it was hard to hear what he was saying a lot of the times. I had to I had to stop and put these bitches like this, like what the fuck is going on here. I had to kind of zone out and be like, okay, I hear you. I'm riding. But so all the songs went together super well. I really like the accompaniment, and it rolled good, bro. And that's a good start for something for me. If it ride good all the way through and I can just listen, I'm rolling. And once I'm gonna catch those lyrics a second time. So overall, did you like this album then, Waz? Or
Oh yeah, I mean, I've always liked Tool's music. Wasn't aware of the whole album, so it was good listening to stuff that I hadn't heard before.
yeah, I'm rolling too. I give this a thumbs up for sure.
Except for that 15-minute track at the end that had 10 minutes of
disgust
tinnitus at
or
the end of
whatever.
it. Like, I hate this because I hear this anyways. I don't want to hear it now.
And it's like, I'm sure it was different back in '93 too. Maybe, I don't know though, but like, it just reminded me. Like, I don't know. I just see cartoons like American Dad or Family Guy make fun of like shit like that. Like, I don't know. The way he was just talking was just like cartoons, people dying. Like, it was like this real spoken wordy like shit randomly throughout the song. But I just thought it was funny as hell. Disgust. What's that shit called again?
Yeah, disgustipated.
Disgustipated. Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of funny because like I remember there was a time where I was like I had a couple of like vegetarian friends and like they're all talking about PETA and shit like that, and I was really sort of thinking about it, and then I was listening to Disgustipated and he's like, life feeds off life feeds off life,
Yeah.
this is necessary. And I was like, yeah, honestly, like, for the carrots, tomorrow is the Holocaust. And so if I'm going to go ahead and value animal life so highly, what about vegetable life? I mean, I'm not saying that they're the same at all, but like, life feeds off life.
Yeah, and plants are life, buddy. So y'all decide to eat them motherfuckers. What else do I got written here? So when I first turned it on, a couple of these songs have funny ass intros. Like, is he smoking a bong in the beginning on the intro, or what's going on there? But I'm rolling. I love that shit. And then they start playing, and like you said, all of the dudes who playing in here sound like, even because I'm just trying to go back to when they made this album. They're younger guys, rocking hard still, but as no matter how good you are early on, you still get better as you go on. So like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to listen to some more albums to see, do they become more better technicians when they playing, or you know what I'm saying, or is it just the sound just changes so they sound different? I don't know, so we'll get to that later on. But I was feeling how they was playing, and then my man's come in singing, and I'm like, look at this soft voice ass motherfucker coming in here, dog. This shit crazy. I love Maynard's voice. He killed that shit. He killed everything. And I don't know if it's he does stay in, he knows his range too. He stays in this key, but there's a couple songs on there where he hit you with some shit, and I'm like, especially, I can't remember, it's at the end of one of the songs, and that's another thing. I know I always know when I listen to rap songs the name of the songs that I'm listening to, but when I'm listening to R&B and when I listen to this, I don't never know what the name of a song is until like the second or third listen. I just be listening to shit, and I know, and then I fuck around, I know like what's going on in the song, but I just don't never know the names of them till like I sit down and look at the playlist, like, oh yeah, that's the one I like. So I can't tell you, but there's at the very end of one of the songs, he hit a hard ass note, and then the song just fade out, and he acapella in it too, and then the song go to the next song. I'm like, okay, I hear you, bro. Like, that boy came in with the soft voice, dog. That shit was fire to me, dog. I just love the contrast of the hard beat with the soft. I don't want to keep calling him soft, but with the I don't know. He's like an alto basically, just singing, and it's fire to me. And then a lot of these songs, they got parts in them where it's like kind of I don't know what the word I want to use is, but it's very, like, melodic parts that could be mainstream. Like, they just kind of get into a good like mainstream poppy riffs at certain points, and then they get right back into going hard. And then when I looked up to one of the top like articles I saw, back in 2019 said we are not a metal band or something like that. So I'm like, oh, okay, y'all trying to fight against y'all labels too, huh? Like, I don't label me nothing, motherfucker. We not what y'all think we is. So I'm rolling with that, dog. Also, if you wouldn't have told me nothing, which y'all didn't, I off top the first listen, I was like, Prison, Sex, and Sober is probably they singles on this album. And then you was like, y'all, you should watch the videos for Prison, Sex, and Sober. I'm like, I knew it, dog, because them bitches go crazy. Them some good songs. And then the fact that them the two that you heard too, Wozzy. Like, I got an A&R ear too though, so I can hear what will probably pop sometimes. But let me look at the rest of this.
So
what's your other songs that you liked on here, Wozzy, besides the two that you already heard? Not like,
I mean,
which ones?
I was
Which
like
ones
you,
did
I
you
just kind
like?
of,
Oh yeah,
I listened through it. I don't think that there was anything I didn't like.
So here's a little funny nugget of information. You know that song 4 Degrees?
Mm-hmm.
W- w- it's hilarious because and that's what one of the things that I really enjoy about them is they take their craft very seriously. They're not fucking around. They're putting out what they feel is the best music that they can put out. They're writing the best music that they can. I mean, it took them a decade to produce their last album.
Damn.
Um, yeah, and but they also are very incredibly irreverent. The song 4 Degrees is about anal sex because supposedly the anal cavity is 4 degrees warmer than the vaginal cavity. So, he's talking about, lay back, let me show you another way. He's talking about, this, there's a treasure deep in the cave. And stuff. He's just talking about sex.
Fire. That's fire. Would never have guessed that. That's funny.
One thing I did want to point out is notice the song lengths. This was before the 3 to 3.5 minute song,
Mm-hmm.
which I completely forgot that a lot of songs are like 4 to 5 minutes at that point.
Yeah, I definitely peeped that. And because the first time, how I peeped it, I looked at the track list. I'm like, all right, 10 songs. Then I looked at the time. I was like, an hour and 8 minutes. What the fuck? This an hour and 8 minutes with 10 songs? And I'm like, well, I guess and then I was like, you're listening to a rock album, bro. So these motherfuckers go in sometimes. So I see 455, 456. I kind of be like, that's I expected everything to be 7 minutes at least. They have great breakdowns too. Like when songs break down to like a different, almost a different song almost. I love that shit. And I love that they do it in here too. So when you heard this for the first time, Jake, after listening to the first album that you heard in 2001, was it like, okay, so we gotta go back to the end. Did you buy the CD or did you download the joint?
Oh no, I downloaded, bro.
Mm-hmm. Okay, making show. And so,
I don't think I had dial-up. I think we were beyond the dial-up days by that time.
So, as Jake Foster in a house full of other Fosters, what was your music listening routine? How'd you get somewhere to really enjoy your music?
My dad had an old stereo that I had taken up to my bedroom and stuff. So I had a pretty decent setup in there, and would pretty much just, if I remember correctly, pretty much just to it there.
Was all your
burn it.
brothers in there with you listening, or was it just be you a lot of times?
No, it would usually just be me. Yeah, and we would listen to a lot of this stuff at like Taekwondo and everything too. That's actually the funny thing is that Taekwondo is what really exposed me to rock music, which that was like 8th grade. So I wasn't listening to rock music until Taekwondo.
That's fired.
I grew up, my dad raised us on like old outlaw country mostly, and then also like the oldies and Motown,
Yeah.
and then I think it was like 5th grade I got exposed to rap, and I was just listening to rap at that point until I got into Taekwondo, and then I was exposed to rock and sort of pick that all up. So it's I feel it's not like your traditional uh, dirt road country white story of music.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
different. That's different, motherfucker, for sure. Oldies, Motown to rap to rock is different. It's a different path.
Yeah, but
But it's respectable one at that.
what?
I said it's respectable. I'm rolling. I'm
I got
rolling. Anything else you want to add about this album? Any I got my first head to one of the songs on here, or special meanings to anything on this joint.
No, I mean, definitely gotta give a shout out to what's his face, Henry Rollins of formerly of Black Flag on Bottom there, that spoken word part. Um,
Was that him?
yeah, that was Henry Rollins. Yeah, until where he's talking about being naked and shameless and all that sort of thing, which that was also something that was kind of interesting. That period of my life and everything to sort of think about, like, your fear of being naked and your soul like iron and shit like that. Help me get through some shit, I think so.
I'm rolling. All right, Waz, your turn. You got an album for us to bang, or you want to wait until shit? You need some time to think about it.
I think I know what I want to do. It's the new, or not new, but the I Prevail album that came out last year, I think. It's called Trauma. It's one of the few complete albums that I can listen to the entire thing, and it's definitely on the heavier side.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
I don't think I'm too familiar with I Prevail, so that'll be interesting.
they're actually out of Michigan too. But most of my stuff is going to be very. I like a lot of dichotomy in my music. So with I Prevail, it's more clean and screamy vocals.
Mm-hmm.
Where we'll get into that next week, but
Mm-hmm.
um,
You said it's
the duality in music
called
is
Trauma.
really interesting.
Yeah, I Prevail Trauma.
All right. Got it saved in the spotty.
Ooh-wee.
It's all loud, by the way.
What's that?
It starts out and comes at you right away. So
I would hope so.
Might turn on some Call of Duty while I'm listening to this then. Wreck some noobs. All right, boy. So thank you, Jake, for that wonderful hour and 8 minutes. I actually listened to it twice, 2 hours 16 minutes. And I'm gonna have it in rotation a little bit for as long as I keep music in rotation. Shit just come out too fast, so you don't get to sit down with music as much as I used to be able to, and it kind of saddens me a little bit. But
It's hard to keep up with.
Yeah, it is. Like people, like big artists would drop something, and then that's what I had in my CD player for what I'm saying, a month, maybe 2 months, until somebody else dropped something that could bump it out the CD player. You only had so much space in the CD player back when we was growing up, y'all. So they had to fight. They had to fight for them CDs. Yeah, you had to fight for them spins, dog. So it takes. I love that I can get music easy now, but it also kind of ruins the I don't know what's the word I want to use for this, y'all. Like, it just ruins the excitement for when new music comes out. I remember a time, and I don't know how often bands collab, but like I remember there was a time when an artist collaborating with another artist was a big deal. Like, oh fuck, Elzai got on a song with Fonte. We've been waiting for these two dudes. We think they're the best rappers of all time to get on a song together, and they finally got on a song, and it's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my god, Jay-Z did the Eminem feature. Like, that's fucking crazy. How did y'all make finally? Now these dudes just send each other an MP3 and they make some bullshit song, and then or they do a joint project together. Like, it's just trash now, bro. I kind of miss not having full access to shit back in the day, because it made it important when it finally came out. I don't know if I'm just old, being old.
Well, like I feel you there, but I don't know the solution because I feel like this is just a natural byproduct. There's going to be more artists who are going to be pumping out more music, and it's a very good strategy to do collaborations. You go ahead and end up getting yourself in the ear of someone who doesn't normally listen to you. You're going ahead and exposing yourself to a completely different fan base that can, grow you monumentally. And yeah, and not to mention with like the streaming and stuff and how we consume music these days due to technology, um, it's not about putting out the album, it's all about putting out that
That
single,
single,
you
yeah.
know.
I mean, back in the day, you couldn't just buy one song really. Like
Right.
you got the entire disc.
And you bought
So
you paid $10.99 based off of one song too. Like, oh,
Mhm.
I love that single. The album gotta be fire. I'm about to drop this 10 bones for another 14, 15 songs. Just off of hearing one song. That sounds kind of crazy. I'm not saying it out loud.
You gave
and then you buy Ace of Base and you realize that you made a terrible choice.
uh but and it's not all bad, guys, because there's people now that outside of this new format we have, I would have never heard certain artists if there wasn't internet and SoundCloud and, you know what I'm saying, Spotify drop, and they was able to drop music, and Instagram. There's certain dudes that I just never would have heard, probably because we get into the label shit. A label sees them as somebody that's not marketable, or I don't think people will like this. But so they just do their own thing on the internet, and then guess what? People like it, motherfucker. But if they didn't have this lane to kind of do their own thing and be an independent artist, it wouldn't have been no major label or indie label that would have signed them, and we would have never heard their music. So I don't totally hate it, but I do just miss those times, man, where I was excited for something to drop. Now I'm excited for 2 days, and then I can't keep up because something else just dropped. So
Yeah, democratization, it's a blessing and a curse because, like we're talking about it in regards to music, but like when and how much garbage music is getting out there, um, it's just fast food, and
yeah,
but like when
it's
you think
fast food
about
for
it,
sure.
you think about applying it to like other fields. Think about applying it to the news. You know what I mean? And now and I think that's part of why we have so many conspiracy theories and you know uh, motherfuckers like this pandemic because anyone can make a documentary and put it out there and be watched by millions.
Before we get into the pandemic shit, Jake, because I
Mhm.
know
You like that type?
yeah, that's a great segue. I just want to say one last thing. It is up to the artist, because there are certain artists that I still do get that same old school feel for when they drop. There's certain artists that say, I don't give a fuck what everybody else is doing. I'm dropping every 2 years, motherfucker, and y'all not about. I'm not doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not dropping a whole bunch of features on your asses. Y'all not gonna hear me. I'm taking the old school route. Kendrick Lamar. When Kendrick about to drop something, guess what I'm listening to for 3 months straight, dog? Because he goes silent. He drops a single, he be like, oh, that shit was crazy. He might drop a second single, and then he might even do a feature. He ain't did a feature in a minute though, and then the album come, and then he gone for 2 years on like clockwork, and I gotta wait, and it make me excited, like, fuck yes, come on. J. Cole, I'm not. I'm dropping every 2 years, motherfucker. Like, there's certain artists out there that still keeping to like this, keeping some sort of, I don't know, just what's the word I'm looking for, y'all?
Sort of like old school methodology.
Yeah, just I'm not. Y'all not gonna see me as much mindset. And that's how it's gonna be. I'm not accessible as these other motherfuckers is, and that's gonna give me a mystique. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm keeping a certain mystique that a lot of these dudes just don't got no more.
Well, the funny thing is that like Mystique is one way of looking at it, but like another way is like it exudes confidence. Like I don't have to be in your ear every
Mhm.
single day, drop something new once a month because I know all I have to do is drop one thing and you're not going to turn me off for the next 3 or 4 months. I know that to be the fact. So I don't have to go ahead and be chasing after your attention because I know that when I do show up and I do knock on your door, it's
You
going to open.
opening that motherfucker, yep.
Mhm.
For sure. Now, Plandemic. So is this video on, it's going up on YouTube. Is it going up on the same channel, or are people making new channels and then uploading it and you just gotta kind of find the breadcrumbs? What's going on here? How are you finding this video? And what is it about?
Okay, I mean, so finding it's pretty fucking easy. Everyone's complaining about it getting pulled down, but that shit's like cancer, and those tumors keep growing back just as quickly as you excite them. So, um, I mean, I've seen a couple of different links. I watched it. I've watched it twice, so pray for me. But the first time, again, everyone's complaining about it getting pulled down. Julia and I sat down on the couch. I was like, "Babe, I'm gonna go ahead and terrorize you for less than 30 minutes by watching some bullshit." And I pulled YouTube up on the PS4 and found it like that and had it playing on the TV. Um, so sure, it's getting pulled down a lot, but it's also going right back up. And I'm sure it's from like other dummy accounts and stuff like that. Um, but it's about one woman's vendetta. That's all it is. It is this Dr. what Judy Mikovits.
Miss,
Hmm?
I was trying to remember her name was like Midsikit or something like that.
I think it's Mikovits if I remember correctly. Something like that. It's some Polak name. um Man, Mike's frozen again, at least on my end, and I gotta take
It-
a screenshot of that.
Just
That is
continue, bruh.
yeah, no. So she um she's a doctor, she's got her PhD and shit like that. And she's worked with Dr. Fauci in the past and they don't see eye to eye. Um she she believes that he's behind this, that, and the other thing, that he's killed millions of people by withholding science from producing um, healing medicines, vaccines, and shit like that for Ebola, or I can't remember. Oh no, that was HIV that she was talking about. And he sat on it so that his buddy could go ahead and copy all the work of her paper and then produce the vaccines himself and have the patents and all that jazz. So she's got a grind or an axe to grind with Fauci, and that's all this is about is her going ahead and trying to get revenge on him. She just dropped a book last month about the matter, and then there's this video. I mean, it's an advertisement. That's all it is. And when you go ahead and the thing that annoys me so much about it is that there's, for one, so little actual substance. There's so many quick cuts. Any 2 minutes, there's like 5 cuts. Um,
That's irritating.
and yeah, and maybe it is just for editing. Um, and maybe there is like no maliciousness behind it, but it's difficult to tell because you're going ahead and telling me that I can't trust anybody. Can't trust the government, can't trust the CDC, can't trust the WHO, you can't trust the news, you can't trust anybody but me. I'm the one telling you the truth. But if I apply that logic, I shouldn't trust you. So when you do these sort of
Mhm.
makes that trust even like more difficult to establish. And at the very end, they play this clip of Dr. Fauci at George University in 2017, and he's talking about pandemics. And essentially, what you hear is him saying, yeah, pandemics are going to be a big bad thing. We got this new administration that's about to start, and I really think you guys should be ready because there's going to be a surprise outbreak that's going to happen soon. But when you actually like, he's mid-sentence and they cut the video. You know? So, like, it's so fucking shady. And then they go ahead and cut to black while he talks about other bits, and it's like, I don't even know the context of what he's talking about here. You're taking this word here, and you're putting it together, and it sounds terrifying. But how do I know that there's not, like, 2 pages in between there?
Right.
And one of the other things is just how flippant she is with the terminology of, you know, what she's even referring to. Half the time, you don't know if she's talking about COVID-19, the disease, or if she's talking about the SARS coronavirus 2, which is this specific virus, or if she's talking about the whole family of coronaviruses.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a doctor and you consider yourself an expert in this field, I don't know. I've heard experts talk, and I've heard experts talk when they're talking like I was talking to Julia just yesterday about how differently I would look at someone's mental health state compared to how she would, and especially how she would go ahead and communicate that if she was in court testifying. She's
Mm-hmm.
going to be very precise with her words, you know,
Yep.
and none of that comes off here at all. So
Yep.
it shows me that she either is ignorant and not as well qualified as she thinks she is, or that she has an agenda.
Yeah. And I'm rolling with that. What did you see it yet, Wozzy, or is you just all based off of the play-by-play that he gave us in the G chat yesterday?
I never wanted to watch it to begin with, so I'm not going to. And I already made my case of how that play by play sounded to me as Jake was typing it up at the time. I don't know. I read one article today about somebody kind of going through everything she said and what was actually happening. That's the most that I'm really going to put into it because it sounded like she didn't know what she was talking about. And it's not like she was a dumb person. She had a PhD. She got through school and everything. When the papers were held, she was still, I believe, an intern at the lab. So that kind of goes against what she was saying, but
Yeah, honestly, I mean, like I have no doubts that honestly, I would not be surprised if you look into her history and her family history, if there's like a history of abuse. She definitely seems to have a lot of issues with trust and authorities, and she seems to project a lot of that onto these situations. The way she describes like the Fauci incidents and stuff, um, maybe it happened that way, or maybe it didn't, and she's projecting a lot of personal baggage onto the matter. That's what it seems like to me, and, I don't know, it's really frustrating because I have
It's
so many people sharing that shit.
it's ridiculous. This is the first time I even heard this man Fauci's name ever, and his ass been on every video with something that wanted to talk to somebody about COVID-19 in the past month. And when you watch his videos, like you said, he has the cancer, he has the demeanor, the vocabulary that will present itself from a professional. So when I hear him speak, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. And I just don't got time to watch, Adult Swim pandemic videos that just pop up on YouTube, like the one that you're talking about, because it's ridiculous. Like, all right, like YouTube's not pulling shit down, but beyond y'all, contrary to belief, y'all, if it was some fucking content in there and something that made sense, YouTube wouldn't be pulling that shit down. It's getting yanked for a reason, dog. Like, it's goofy.
They already put the little disclaimer thing at the bottom of videos that they let you watch that are still proven wrong. So
Yeah,
if they're flat out pulling it,
there's shit on YouTube right now with people where there's somebody ranting about some shit that's conspiracy theorist style, that's just up there, bro. Like, you can watch wild shit. So this shit is getting pulled down for a reason.
How many flat earth videos are still out there going around?
Well, and like So for one, YouTube's a private platform. It's a private company.
Yeah.
You know, um, your Second Amendment, or like like your First Amendment rights don't transfer the way that we want to believe that they do. Um, and like I can't go to work and just say whatever the fuck I want.
Mhm. Yeah.
Regardless if I got freedom of speech or not. I can't be in a town hall with the CEO and tell him to go fuck himself and not expect to get fired. Um, it's just ridiculous. And as a platform like it is, Facebook, YouTube, they have certain legal restrictions. I mean, they're held liable to a certain degree for what they allow to be consumed. And yeah, like I don't know. It's wild.
Are they gonna take those chances with your bullshit? And I wouldn't.
Because I mean, I think it's incredibly important for us to try and think of, at least to a certain degree, of how, like, we talk about videos being viral, but like an idea really can be viral.
Hmm.
Ideas have made people kill themselves.
Yeah, ideas was viral. Ideas were going viral way before videos were going viral. So yeah, that's a fact.
You know, I mean, hell, look at like Gnostic cults back in like a millennia ago. They were suicide cults killing themselves because of they simply read a text. They read a book. And it convinced them, just like watching Inception,
Mhm.
that, what, maybe I'm dreaming right now. I need to free my soul from this bodily prison, so I'm gonna go ahead and kill myself.
Drink the
And so,
Kool-Aid, baby.
yeah, so what sort of responsibility, I wish that we could go ahead and, I think censorship is bad. But we're making a lot of assumptions when we talk about censorship.
Over censorship is bad. Some shit need to be censored, bro.
Well, I mean, but we should be responsible enough adults to go ahead and process and see through the bullshit.
Is
The
censorship for adults though, or is it for? I mean, I guess it kind of is, but I've always thought of censorship as more towards kids and teens almost.
No, I mean honestly, like I look at censorship as being more for adults.
Yep. It a lot of it is the protecting people. Well, the idea is to protect people from false information or things that they shouldn't see, but
Mhm.
it can be used the exact same other way, like in the Chinese government firewalls and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
Right.
if I use that, I guess that's why I always protecting people from false information. I feel like I don't know. I feel like as an adult, I don't really need protection from false information. But as a kid with a mind that's not fully developed, I'm more susceptible to falling for false information than I would be as an adult. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing, because like, what if we're making a lot of assumptions, because what if you have mental health issues? What if
No, I know
you're
that. Yeah,
that makes you more vulnerable to these sorts of things. If you if you got schizophrenia,
schizophrenia.
yeah, and you watch some shit like this about how they're out to get you and everything, what is that going to do? That's going to amplify it, you know. So, and not to mention, like, I got, again, like I said, my news feed on Facebook is just full of this shit, and so many people believe in it and saying that we need to watch it. How the and all this wild ass shit, and I mean, talking about going ahead and stringing people up. How we need to string up Fauci and Bill Gates and shit like that. Um, and these
But those
people are
people
getting.
that you see posting this shit, Jake, these are normal people as far as brain waves go. Like they don't have mental disabilities. They're just dumb, and not even just dumb. They was just raised a certain way, and they was probably and exposed to ideals early on that are stuck with them throughout adulthood. So even if it wasn't this video, it'd be something else that came. Like you're censoring stuff. Yeah, I don't want these adults to see it because they're gonna believe it, but you they're gonna believe all type of shit. You can't censor everything to keep them from believing shit as adults, dog. And they already down for looking for dumb shit. And so the first dumb shit that they can find on the internet, that's what they jumping on to, bro. So whether it's this pandemic or if it's pancakes are fake, like they jumping on it, bro.
But that's only partially true, because if I know enough about how certain populations work, and especially with all the data that we're constantly collecting and stuff like that, I could go ahead and know how to trigger certain populations, you know? Uh, there's vulnerabilities to the human psyche. There's a shit ton of fucking vulnerabilities to every single American, you know. And to go ahead and sort of pivot just a little bit, you know, these videos always want to talk about how there's so much money controlling everything, and that the government and the media is all run by like the same people and that sort of thing. But you're trusting this random video that you found on the internet. How do you know that that's actually not propaganda from, say, Russia? You know, and it's funny to me because like back in 2016 with the election, what we were seeing was an escalation of a lot of racial issues. You know, that's a vulnerability of Americans. If you want to start a civil war in America, just start some race shit, you
Right.
know? And Americans are so freedom oriented. We worship freedom above everything else. That is our God. So that's another way to go ahead and trigger us into acting a fool. And there's a huge population that's going to be even more vulnerable to it. So if I go ahead and try and say that there's this evil cabal that's trying to take away all your freedoms, you know, I've gone ahead and instantly gotten to the heads of a sizable chunk of dangerous people, you know.
It also gives a lot of people a common enemy.
Hmm.
So instead of all of that hatred being distributed evenly to random places, it's like, oh, here's a target,
Yeah.
gonna go after them.
There's a scapegoat, you know.
There's also a lot of the people like to have a reason for something not being their fault, and as soon as you can blame something else, you know, it's no longer on you. It's their fault. So,
Mhm.
and I think a lot of that plays into a lot of the conspiracies of, oh, everyone else is just wrong and I'm right, and see.
It gives you a team. Well, and I think, and it's funny because like whether it's the right or the left, we're seeing more and more conspiracy theories becoming mainstream, and I think it's
Hey,
hilarious.
birds are fake. I keep telling you.
You said
But
birds.
but it's funny to me because honestly, it really does seem to be, at least in part,
This
a
fucking
natural.
bird built a nest right outside my house. Matter of fact,
No, it was a U.S. drone.
that's
Yep.
crazy. They trying to look in on my shit. They see
Yeah.
they hear the No Consensus podcast talking that shit. They trying to keep a close eye on us.
Trump wants to know what you're doing with those Trump bucks, bro.
Trump, if you
But
watching this, come meet me outside. I'm trying to catch the 1-on-1 fade. Let's go. 1v1.
But I really think that all these conspiracy theories are a rather natural byproduct of us being in the information age and just being so inundated with so much information and trying to connect dots that may be connected and might not be connected.
Yep.
I mean, isn't it? It's kind of a current version of general propaganda too.
Mm.
Um,
That's such a good word, propaganda.
It's what you do when a duck falls over. You propagander.
Oh, okay. Fire. That's
Mhm.
bars right there.
Um,
Sound like some voyeur shit though.
eh,
Side note, this week's No Consensus poll, which slaps harder, orange juice or apple juice? Orange juice won in a landslide. 90% of people say orange juice slaps harder than apple juice, Jake. So I'm sorry. But
well,
the people have spoken.
I mean, that's whatever. Um, oh, Wozzy, I got a question for you since we're talking about liquids. Um, did
Are we?
you end up doing the espresso grind with that mocha pot?
I did So I haven't done a full espresso grind. I did the one that I tried a tea mocha pot. It picks up a lot of the bitterness of English breakfast. It was a very bitter tea. I think I'm gonna actually get some real espresso in to try an espresso grind on it. But yeah, I had never heard of a mocha pot. I was surprised that it was good. Sorry, I got distracted by Mike trying to get sponsored.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's on the to-do list. That and get the instant espresso to make.
Oh yeah,
Was it jungle?
yeah, yep, that whip shit. Let me tell you, man. Well, I mean, you're probably gonna be fine, but whew, that shit did a number on me. I was buzzing.
That shit
Like
had you bouncing off the walls,
dude, in a bad way. Whew. You know where that heart goes.
Isn't that normal though? Like 120, 130.
When this is all over, Waz, schedule a doctor appointment.
Yeah, I gotta get in there. Also, UFC 249 is tonight, Jake. These
Bro, I
motherfuckers.
was about to bring that up.
These motherfuckers still fighting out here, Jake, during a pandemic. What
And
other way to stay safe from catching a disease than to be bleeding in a ring with another man, sweating?
Especially 3 people have already been found tested positive.
At the event?
Yeah. One of the fighters, Jacare, tested positive. And he before even getting to the venue and stuff like that, he was aware that a family member was probably gonna test positive. And he told the UFC and everything, and they still had him come in. He weighed in and all that jazz. It was funny because apparently they are doing a shit ton of testings. There's like 300 people there, and they've done like 1,200 tests.
How long does a test take to get the results back for? I don't know.
Oh,
They have some down to like 15 minutes that are fairly accurate.
Is that the shit they stick it down your nose still or whatever, or what's? Or I forgot what they.
It goes up and tickles your brain.
Yeah, I hear it goes up pretty fucking deep. But yeah, so they knew about that, and you know, they did like the official weigh-ins and stuff, and then they tried to pretend that everything's still normal and had them do like the little face-off thing, but they're standing like 6 feet, 10 feet away from each other. Like, how intimidating is that? Like, come on, Mike, let's go. You know, even though you're in your basement, you know, miles away from me.
I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Bring it on.
Don't you come over here. I'm gonna whoop your ass. I'm gonna whoop your ass so you get over here. About 30, 45 minutes ago, take you. It's going down.
Well, it was funny because they're wearing masks. They got Jacare had gloves on.
The most unintimidated face-off on earth.
Well, it's funny because like they're standing there in their underwear, practically, you know, like their shorts or whatever, shirts off, flexing and everything, while they have a mask on and these, you know, fucking gloves. It's like it's a joke. And then Dana White is standing in between them, and he's not wearing anything.
And he's not wearing anything. He butt naked.
Dicks out.
Dicks out, bro. Fuck it, get Corona in the dick. What you mean?
Everyone in the background, everyone else was wearing masks. He wasn't wearing a mask even.
He don't want to be weak.
Well, but here's the funny thing. I was reading an article, and yeah, if you actually watch the video, which I didn't do, he's shaking people's hands, hand to hand. He's going ahead and giving people hugs.
He's spreading that shit.
Jacare, the guy who tested positive, he shook his hand, and then he went ahead and shook someone else's hand, and then gave this guy a hug.
God damn.
Like in on camera, it shows him possibly exposing that virus to at least 30 people.
Man, he's spreading that shit like weed and feed. This motherfucker tripping, boy. God damn.
But hey,
I didn't know all of that. I did not know all of that. I just happened to see they was playing some old UFC fights leading up to the fight tonight. So I had seen it on Facebook Live. So I was like, all right, that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting because you got who do you got? Dominic Cruz and Henry Cejudo.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I feel like I saw Francis Ngannou on the card. I might be wrong though.
Yep. He's gonna be fighting Rosencrantz, I believe.
That sounds right, but I'll have to check real quick. I'm just still super irritated that we didn't get the Khabib Ferguson fight. But,
Yeah. Well, see, the frustrating thing with that for me, like, let's just put it off. Let's just
exactly.
hold off.
Don't make him fight somebody else. Just put it off, bro. Yeah, exactly.
You know, because here's
it's a lose, dog. Now he has to fight somebody, put more miles on his body, or he loses, and now I don't want to see the fight.
Exactly. See, what they fucked up was that it would be really interesting to go ahead and watch Justin Gaethje versus Conor McGregor.
That's how you pronounce his damn name, Gaethje? Oh man.
And then have Khabib versus Ferguson, and then whoever wins those two fights, they fight each other. It might be Khabib versus Conor again. It might be Justin in there. But now with this, it's like you're sort of taking a shortcut, and now it totally fucks up ever having a Ferguson Nurmagomedov.
Yeah. Cowboy fighting on here. Cowboy versus Anthony Pettis. That's gonna be a good fight. Greg Hardy's fighting tonight. That's the dude who used to play for the Cowboys. He playing some Jorgen De Castro. It's just so funny seeing you stop playing football and then try to fight in the UFC. Yeah, I mean it's a decent card. It's a couple good fights on here. More than a couple actually, about 4 or 5 good fights on here. And but it's just weird that like you said, y'all. I didn't know they had 3 confirmed, and now Dana's shaking hands with all 3 of them motherfuckers. Like, god damn, that's crazy.
That was just on camera. Who knows what they're behaving like?
That's what I'm saying. That's it. Yep.
That's your best. Like that's your best foot forward is fucking everything up.
Yep. I mean, listen, man. Jesus Christ. This is when you see the mentality of people, dog. When shit like this happens, who's the people that's staying at home taking shit serious, and who's the people who like, I'm about to shake everybody hand, even the people I know who got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just sometimes I wonder what it takes for everybody to be on board or something. Like, if a zombie apocalypse was to hit, how long would it take the world to be like, oh, those are really zombies? You know what I'm saying? Like, if a zombie started popping up over in Europe, America wouldn't get on until what? Every state had a zombie in it, probably. Like, we still be even if they was only in Texas, we still be like, don't make no fucking zombies. They ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm still gonna go get my shit from Home Depot. Like, what does it take for people to pay attention to shit, dog? Or take anything serious? Like, that's a serious question. I don't know what it is. It just seemed like we don't take nothing serious until it's too late. Oh, you gotta die, or your mama gotta die from something before you say, oh, this is serious. God damn, bro. Why does it have to be, everything has to be a conspiracy? Take something serious for once in your life, man.
Well, I mean, it's something that's very difficult, I think, to wrap your mind around, and honestly, is real indicative of our privilege as an entire country. Regardless of where you are in the country or who you are, we don't have this sort of shit in our American history. We haven't had to like.
This shit is definitely in American history. I mean, we haven't had to deal with it ourselves, but there's definitely been viruses and plagues that have hit mankind and fucked us up. Y'all.
Well, as a country, I think we don't we have the Spanish flu 100 years ago.
Damn tacos.
But again, like we're so we worship freedom. That is our God, you know. Um, and that's why those motherfuckers were out there at the
That's they
Capitol.
God. But
Well,
yeah, you're right.
you know,
Well, I
and
think that also gave them an outlet for their anger.
mhm.
It just
So
that I still just don't understand that. Y'all not the only motherfuckers under quarantine. Why are y'all at the state capitol when
'Cause there's
everybody else doing this shit?
part
you
of
know,
me kind of wondered how much of this came from the snowflake mentality,
What's the
like
snowflake mentality?
where everybody thinks they're the most important person because
they're
that's what they
unique.
were grow
Okay,
up
like the
taught.
unique. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like ooh, hiccups. I get you though.
It was just kind of one of those random like fleeting I wonder if type things that whole mentality of nothing is a competition anymore, and if that played into why this is so much worse than um, like Spanish flu or H1, what, 10, 15 years ago, where people were still kind of paying attention to it, even though it was much less out there. You okay, Mike? Um,
Hiccups there. Oh, poor little baby. Well, yeah. What
All
do I
right.
want to say? You know, I think, again, like one of the reasons why we're so much more susceptible to react in this sort of way is because we don't have a whole lot of social cohesion. We're again just individual oriented and stuff like that. So if it doesn't affect me personally, what the fuck do I care? Go fuck
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah. I just
Oh,
wasn't
you have.
raised that way, bro. I just was always raised under a mentality of what goes around comes around, first of all. Second of all, every shit affects you that you don't know about. So you can't have that fucking type of mentality. Like, okay, just because something doesn't affect you now does not mean it won't affect you later. And it's this thing called empathy, bro. Understanding like that just because it hasn't happened to you, you should be able to empathize with somebody else, understand what they are going through, understand the seriousness of certain situations. I just don't, and I understand how people don't understand it. I just don't understand it. Why weren't you raised like this?
See, Mike, so there's a lot of interesting things in there. So like, and I think you being black has a lot to do with that, to be honest.
Power to
Like,
them.
how many times have we, seen news stories of some black individual, like a crime was committed in a neighborhood, but and the perpetrator was black. The police went ahead and wrongly accused somebody, killed some innocent black guy because they were just like, well, it's a black guy, you know, it checks the boxes. As a white individual, you don't really experience that so much. So I don't. If Waz were to go ahead and do something, I don't have to worry about it. But I'm sure that you've had experiences in your life where you've had to worry about getting into trouble or consequences falling upon you that were caused by someone else completely unrelated.
Between 10 to
So
18 when I moved to Bloomfield Hills, yes, I got it. I got into situations at least 4 times that I can think of right now, 5 times, just being in the wrong place and being black. So yes, I'm rolling. And they
right,
just had a situation like that happen. The fucking a mood Arbery case. You seen shit about that? Where the kid, they thought he was robbing, they thought he was stealing cars or something, and these two white dudes just rolled up on him. Guys that's not cops or nothing. Just chased him down, shot him to death. And somebody
oh
recorded it.
yeah, I remember reading about that.
It's just
right.
like like it's not even just the cops. It's y'all, you zip Jordan George Zimmerman motherfuckers who wanted to be cops but didn't pass the fucking psyche valve or the regular fucking physical test. Yeah, so now y'all think y'all neighborhood watching it and y'all just killing people, dog. Like I don't, it's you see these fucking stories every day. So I think there's definitely something to that. But I know that you two both have that same type of empathy as well too, though, bro. Like, so something doesn't have to happen to Wise for him to understand that it's bad. Wise don't need to have cancer to feel sorry for somebody that has fucking cancer, bro. Like,
But everyone has a different capacity for that, and some people do need to touch the flame and get burned before they learn. You know what I mean?
burn,
So
baby, burn, burn.
it would be great if some of these mouth breathers could go ahead and learn these abstract lessons indirectly, but I really don't think that it's even necessarily fair to assume that everyone should be capable of that sort of processing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's a shame. I wish it was different, but I just don't see enough data to disprove it.
Yeah, I don't either. I really don't. All right, boys. So next week we're gonna be listening to the I Prevail album. We're going to I don't have no what's it called this week, no Judge That Nudges, but I'm about to be searching valiantly this week to make sure we got a good one for next week.
I'm sure we could go and steal something from this UFC.
Yeah. We ain't had a good street fight in a minute though. I'm trying to get a good street fight breakdown as well. Yeah, a little some bullshit. So cheers, boys. This is the No Consensus Podcast. I hope y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Oh, happy Mother's Day for all the lovely mothers out there. I hope y'all have a blessed day tomorrow. I hope y'all kids take care of y'all, your husbands. Your kids and your husbands or your boyfriend. Somebody got to take care of your ass because you did a lot of taking care of already. All right. No Consensus Podcast.
Peace.